Thank you, Mark. Good evening, everybody. The post-horn gallop is being played in the centre circle as both of these sides, these Midland rivals, make their way out onto the pitch. The wind and rain are lashing around the King Power Stadium. There's barely a blue seat to be seen around the ground, though. Everyone has turned up in great number. The Aston Villa fans away to our left-hand side, huddled up in the corner as well. No handshakes as the players walk past each other as a precaution against the coronavirus, of course. I'll go through the starting 11s for you. The main news, as Mark just mentioned, for Leicester City, Jamie Vardy misses a third consecutive start, 2 in the Premier League, 1 in the FA Cup against Birmingham City with that persistent calf injury, but he technically has recovered. He's on the bench. Kelechi Iheanacho will start up top. Ben Chilwell, the left-back, England's international left-back, is out. He's got a hamstring problem, so it's a second Premier League start for the former Luton Town left-back James Justin. Wilfred Ndidi, this is big for Leicester, makes his first Premier League start since returning from a knee injury. So the starting 11 for the home side, who've only won 3 of their last 12. The gap to 5th, Manchester United, has been reduced from 14 points down to just 5. So Kasper Schmeichel, as per usual, is in goal. A back 4 from right to left: Ricardo Pereira, Johnny Evans, Chala Suyunchu and James Justin. Wilfred Ndidi and Dennis Pratt, the 2 central midfielders. The former Villa man Mark Albrighton wide on the right-hand side. Harvey Barnes, the local lad, is wide on the left with James Maddison in the 10 role behind Kelechi Iheanacho. Now Aston Villa, they could leap out of the bottom 3, but they have lost 3 in a row, and they've lost 10 away games in the Premier League this season. Dean Smith makes 2 changes from the Carabao Cup final defeat against Manchester City, but he sticks with a back 4. Pepe Reina's back in goal. Conor Hourihane is in for Anwar El Ghazi, so they line up like this. Pepe Reina between the sticks, Gilbert, Mings, Engels and Target, the back 4. If it is a 3 in the centre of midfield, then it will be Nakamba, Luis and Hourihane, with El Mohammadi and Ali Samata, the centre forward, with Jack Grealish probably on that left-hand side with a bit of a roving brief. Kasper Schmeichel and Grealish have tossed the coin. Tonight's referee is Michael Oliver. Chris Sutton alongside me. Huge implications here, Chris, at either end of the table tonight, aren't there?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think from Leicester's point of view, they want that Champions League spot. They need that Champions League spot. After the start to the season, it was phenomenal. And for Villa, 2 games in hand on the 3 teams above them, 2 points behind. Be a big win if they could get the 3 points. They'd go up a few places.
Well, Leicester won this fixture 4-1 at Villa Park in December. It was their 8th consecutive Premier League win, setting a new club record in top-flight football. The win put Leicester 6 points above Manchester City. Leicester was second at that point. They were 14 points above Manchester United in 5th. This was after 16 games. Now, in the 12 matches since, just 3 wins, 12 points out of 36. 6 sides have taken fewer points since early December, so Leicester have struggled. We're all set for kick-off. Bouncing on his toes with his gloves on and his orange boots is Kelechi Iheanacho, who's done a decent job either alongside Jamie Vardy or in the side for Jamie Vardy. And Michael Oliver blows his whistle and away we go. Leicester kicking from right to left as we look at things here at the King Power Stadium. Blue shirts, white shorts and blue socks. It's the traditional claret and blue shirts for Aston Villa, claret shorts and light blue socks. And Suyunchu gets his first touch, as does James Justin, who was in the League One Team of the Year last season, a £10 million Signing from Luton Town in the summer. He started against West Ham in December in the busy festive fixtures, and he gets his chance here ahead of Christian Fuchs for the injured Ben Chilwell. It's a clearance by Engels, who's earned his starting place back for Aston Villa, but it's a throw-in to Leicester on their left-hand side, level with the edge of the penalty area. Justin gets it back from Ndidi. And how big, Chris, it's another throw-in to Leicester, is the return of Wilfred Ndidi for Leicester City?
Yeah, of course he came on as substitute against Norwich City, had 60 minutes against Birmingham City, but I think he's one of those players, and we talk about the quality players they have in midfield, but he's the one who does that job in front of the back 4 better than anybody else. He's crucial to Leicester.
Since he made his debut just over 3 years ago in the Premier League. He's got 135 tackles more than the next highest tackler in the Premier League. Absolutely vital player. Leicester have lost all 5 games that he's missed completely. Played down the right-hand side for Leicester City, but only as far as Tyrone Mings. He's put under immediate pressure, and the flag is up for a foul. Mings had to get rid of that ball pretty quickly. Iheanacho is penalised. He's pleading his innocence to the assistant referee on the far side. Aston Villa free kick near towards the left-hand side, halfway inside their own half.
He's not happy. Iheanacho, Mings using his strength anyway. That's been their problem this season, though, Aston Villa. Not enough clean sheets. I think they had 2 in the first 5 games of the season, and only 2 since then. Conceded far too many goals, and then that puts the pressure on the strikers, doesn't it, or on the forwards to score goals, and they haven't been what you would describe as prolific.
No, they've conceded 52 this season. They've yet to keep a clean sheet in the Premier League away from home, the only side to do that. And we talked to Mark about injuries and about managers complaining about injuries. Well, Dean Smith has been without John McGinn, and Wesley had a horrible knee injury as well, who'd started scoring goals. And I don't think Smith has complained too much. Here's Luis in his own half. Now Nakamba, the Zimbabwean. Aston Villa building on the halfway line. Luis, nice one-touch football, gets it back from Nakamba. Right-hand side is the right-back Gilbert, closed down by Harvey Barnes, plays it down the line. It's a sliding Suyuncu, 1 or 2 droplets of water bouncing off the pitch as he slid the Turkish international. Clears for a throw-in on Aston Villa's right, halfway inside the Leicester half, taken by Gilbert. Samatta, and now in the midfield with Conor Hourihane. Out to the left-hand side it goes, and a first little run here for Jack Grealish, the number 10. Hair slicked back into the penalty area, overruns it slightly. Johnny Evans able to roll the ball clear to Dennis Pratt, the Belgian. Now it's thumped down the right-hand side by Pereira. He's looking for Iheanacho. The ball will just slight out of play, and it's an Aston Villa throw-in on their left-hand side.
You can see immediately as Grealish picked up the ball, he has started just off the left-hand side, that Leicester are going to pay him extra close attention. He's the one who makes things happen for Aston Villa. Need others to step up.
Villa fans in full voice away in the corner. They're used to success against Leicester recently. If you take that 4-1 home defeat in December out of the equation, there was a 1-1 draw here in the first leg of the League Cup semi-final, and a 93rd minute winner at Villa Park to send Aston Villa to Wembley, and they made a game of it. Lost 2-1 against Manchester City last weekend. Here's El Mohammadi, a rare Premier League start for him, motoring down the right-hand side into Leicester territory, and he's forced back by Harvey Barnes. Leaves it a little short of Engels, who stubs his toe into the ground, manages to just work the ball out, but only for a throw-in under pressure from Iheanacho.
What a terrible pass, wasn't it, from El Mohammadi, who driven up the right-hand side, halfway into Leicester's half, came back out, and a bit of a hospital pass out for Engels.
Nice turn by James Maddison. A poor ball to Ndidi though, and that enabled Hourihane to take the ball off the toes of Ndidi. James Justin with a solid challenge. The ball bounced towards an Aston Villa player, but he left Samatta on the floor, the Tanzanian, and the ball is cleared out for a Aston Villa throw 10 yards inside the Leicester half on the right-hand side. And it's Gilbert who takes the ball from Brendan Rodgers, who's got his hands deep in his pockets, his black coat, black tracksuit bottoms, grey hood sticking out of the back, and he says, we have the opportunity with 10 games to go to make it an historic season. Leicester have been in the top 4 forever this season, but the gap has been closing. These 3 wins in 12, this wobble that has been protracted since the victory at Villa Park in December could be damaging. Villa on the attack. Grealish left-hand side. Cross comes in. Hourihane misses it. And it's cleared towards the edge of the penalty area. Claims of handball by Douglas Luiz. Hacked clear by Leicester City. That was a chance for Hourihane. Well, about 8 yards out from goal. Didn't make a decent connection. And here come Leicester towards the other end. Aston Villa, though, having the better of the early exchanges. Grealish now has the ball left-hand side, 10 yards inside the Leicester half.
Tell you what, big chance for Aston Villa. It really was. Weak defending by Pereira. Now Grealish in down the left-hand side. Little overlap and ball into Hourihane. I think that's a bad miss.
Long ball towards Kelechi Iheanacho. Can't bring the ball under control, and Tyrone Mings finds Matt Targett. Leicester a little passive in the early stages. This is a team that you've seen in the first half of the season with the high press, plenty of energy, but they're letting Aston Villa have plenty of possession here. Long ball forward, found Samatta, and now it's Horahan on the left-hand side. The ball goes out for a corner kick. I think the referee, Michael Oliver, though, has blown for the foul on Samatta. Aston Villa free kick, level with the corner, the left corner of the penalty area, and a decent opportunity to get some service into that penalty area.
Yeah, Michael Oliver decided not to twist too early, let the play go on. It was a foul. Strong challenge, opportunity now for Aston Villa. Left hand side of the Leicester box, probably 26, 27 yards out. Grealish over the ball, and Horahan.
Grealish just bending down, hands on his knees, peering through the rain here at the King Power Stadium. Captain's armband around his left bicep. The cross comes in, and there's a chance, and it's a big chance, and it's wide. Ali Samatta. What an opportunity. Did he lose his footing at the crucial moment? It was a terrific free kick, and he couldn't turn it towards goal.
Well, that's two chances Villa have had, and when it matters, Samatta didn't step up. Right foot onto left shin, from 5-6 yards out. It's got to be scoring that, got to be taking those opportunities. They cannot be this wasteful.
Very good start by Aston Villa, but it's goalless here on 5 Live Sport at the King Power Stadium. Leicester City 0, Aston Villa 0. Another wayward pass from a Fox. This time it's Harvey Barnes, but he makes amends this time. It's slipped through into the penalty area by Maddison. Iheanacho looks for James Justin, but he stands it up into the penalty area, and it's easy for Pepe Reina. He was, in fairness to Justin, under a little bit of pressure, but look at the space in the centre of the park here for Horahan, and he finds Samatta, and he's got time to turn and run at the Leicester back line. To the right hand side he goes to El Mohammadi. Samatta again lunged at by Söyüncü. Thought that might be a foul when he first committed it, but it's out of play for a throw-in, and Söyüncü throws it back to his goalkeeper.
Yeah, a bit of a daft challenge. Right. Söyüncü got away with that one, but we're not talking about half chances for Villa. 2 golden opportunities for them to get the noses in front. It's been a tepid start by Leicester. It really has.
The energy that they had in the first half of the season has dissipated, but there was a confidence issue as well. But here's Iheanacho trying to get onto a long ball, and it's almost an own goal. Engels wrong-footed his goalkeeper, just got his chest or his stomach to the ball. Reina was rooted to the spot, but it just went wide.
Oh, miscommunication there, nearly a bungling Belgium there. Engels heads it past Reina, who is rooted. Not so sure he was getting back there, and it goes into the side netting. Will they get away with one?
And Leicester have a corner kick in front of the Aston Villa fans away in the corner. Right-footed, curled in towards the near post. Johnny Evans saved Reina, and the header comes in and it's over the top. What a save by Pepe Reina. Johnny Evans, who scored a header at Villa Park in that 4-1 win in December, must have felt he'd scored there. It was a fantastic header and a terrific save.
Oh, brilliant delivery, wasn't it, from Maddison? Outswinger, right-footed. Evans rises, powers the header down on target, and Reina gets down low to his left-hand side. It's a decent save, it really isn't. Leicester can't scramble the ball back in. Big save from Pepe Reina.
Yeah, Johnny Evans then got a header across the penalty area, and it was Harvey Barnes who put that over the top. And now Wilfred Ndidi is penalised for a push on Samatta, and it's a free kick to Aston Villa just inside the Leicester half on the Villa right. What a signing Johnny Evans has been for Leicester City.
Well, how much was he? Was he
3.5 million, I think.
Unbelievable.
There was a release clause from West Bromwich Albion when they were relegated. Some good scouting by the Leicester talent department. He's played every minute in the Premier League this year.
Gave him a release clause of 3.5 million. Blimey.
Aston Villa working it down their left-hand side. They have a throw-in. It's been a lively opening to this Midlands derby. East Midlanders Leicester in 3rd place, pushing for the Champions League. West Midlanders Aston Villa in the bottom 3, although a victory here would lift them out of the relegation spots. Here's Engels, right-footed down the right sideline. Samatta with a nice chest down to the right touchline, and El Mohammadi, but then Wilfred Ndidi does what he usually does, which is win possession back for the men in blue. It's out eventually for a Villa throw-in just inside the Leicester half on their right-hand side. Gilbert thought about going down the line to Samatta. He's got Luis available inside, ball hovering over his head. There is Luis with that peroxide blonde hair. Sent down the line towards El Mohammadi. The flag is up for offside, and Leicester will have a free kick. 11 minutes gone at the King Power Stadium on 5 Live Sport. Arlo White and Chris Sutton with you. Leicester City 0, Aston Villa 0.
And Aston Villa just wondered how they would set up. We thought they'd go with the back four, and the Kamba is the one who's sitting in there and holding with Luis and Hurahan. A sort of narrow 3 in the middle of the park, allowing Grealish to play a roll off that left-hand side, and off the right, and they have to get up in support of Samatta, and the ball does go into him.
Well, it'll be slightly heavy going at Cheltenham tomorrow, won't it, if the weather here is replicated in Gloucestershire, but our coverage of the Cheltenham Festival starts on 5 Live Sports Extra at 1:15 tomorrow, and we've got Champions League tomorrow night, RB Leipzig against Tottenham, 5 Live from 8. Here come Leicester City into the Aston Villa penalty area. Luis clashing with James Justin, but comes away with the ball, the Brazilian. Finds El Mohammadi on the right-hand side, a curling ball. Johnny Evans has to run towards his own goal. Kasper Schmeichel with the shout, he backs away towards his goal line, takes the ball at his feet and then sends it down the right, looking for Mark Albrighton, who'll enjoy a rare start, only his second in the Premier League of the season. Here's James Maddison. Kelechi Iheanacho did well to charge down. Tyrone Mings attempted clearance, and that's awful from Pepe Reina. The ball was played back to him, a complete miskick, and out for a throw-in level with the edge of the penalty area on Leicester's right.
Well, that was 15 seconds of pub football. First of all, the pass from Mings was really sloppy, then it goes back to Reina, who sliced that horribly out of touch.
Well, Leicester can't take advantage of the situation, and Tyrone Mings has the possession, and he drops it back to Target, who sends it long, and James Justin brings it confidently out of the sky under a little bit of pressure. He knew he had El Mohammadi in behind him. The crowd give him a round of applause for the confidence and technique shown in a tricky situation. Here's Ricardo, who scored the only goal the last time Leicester were here against Birmingham City. Coincidentally, last week in the FA Cup, Leicester have Chelsea at home in the quarter-finals of that competition, having made it to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. Barnes down the line, Justin into the penalty area, James Justin with the cross. Tyrone Mings puts it behind off his chest for a corner kick. Leicester's most effective attack so far.
Yeah, nice slick pass from Barnes, little overload. Justin making the run, marauding down the left, gets to the byline on the left-hand side, and Mings in that near post space takes no chances, chested away the Leicester corner.
Well, he had 7 assists last season in League One, only 4 fullbacks in the top 4 divisions provided more. Maddison's corner, free header for Soyuncu, and he sends it over and then collapses with his head in his hands. What a chance. Leicester with 2 excellent opportunities from consecutive corners, and they don't find the target.
Well, that's a horrible miss, it really is. Once again, delivery spot on. Soyuncu's peeled round the far post. He sees it all the way. I think Engels is the one who loses him. And he leaps and tries to head it back across Reina, but succeeds in heading it over the bar. That's a big opportunity.
Chris, the clue is in the numbers, you know. No Premier League side has conceded more goals from set pieces, including penalties, than Aston Villa. That's 18 goals. No side has shipped more goals via corners than Aston Villa, with 9.
Well, that's remarkable. 2 corners and 2 big opportunities. First of all, the Evans header, as we see the game just stopping. Samatta and Soyuncu just had a little clash of heads there. But Soyuncu, big chance, saw it all the way, 7 yards out, free header. You've got to be making the goalkeeper work there.
Well, he's just using his shirt to wipe the water from his face. He certainly was a clash of heads there with Samatta, with Soyuncu, but he appears to be okay. Soyuncu, a crowd favourite here. There was a big worry when Harry Maguire was allowed to leave for Manchester United for a rather decent fee, it has to be said. No replacement was signed. Soyuncu was the man. His second season with Leicester City, and it's gone rather well. And now we've got a free kick to Leicester. It's a foul, I think, by Grealish on Ndidi. But in doing so, Grealish has injured himself. He's down on the ground. It looks like the lower part of his right leg is the issue. Ndidi's fine, and it's a free kick to Leicester. But a worry here for Aston Villa.
There's a sloppy pass, overhit from target on the left-hand side, and Grealish just actually slips into the challenge with Ndidi.
Chris, has he even got shin pads on there? He
must have.
It's a trademark thing for Jack Grealish to wear the socks at half-mast. But if he has got shin pads in, they're very small and not covering very much of his shins. He's back on his feet,
well,
just limping
he must have some sort of shin pad in there.
But most of the shin is exposed, isn't it? Because he's got his socks rolled down. He does it every game, and he appears to be okay. Leicester have the ball just by the centre circle in their own half. Here's Justin, 0-0, 17 minutes gone at the King Power Stadium. Soyuncu, square to Johnny Evans. Not a massive amount of movement ahead of the back four, but here's Harvey Barnes on the left-hand side. One of the few Leicester players that's been scoring goals lately, 3 in his last 6 in the Premier League. Soyuncu to Justin on the left-hand side. He's got a bit of room to manoeuvre here. He sends it further down the left to Maddison. Flag stays down. Maddison switches to his right foot, and then Luis blocks the cross, and Justin does well against El Mohammadi to get there first, to take the ball off the Egyptian's toes and win the free kick. Dean Smith in the technical area for Aston Villa can't believe the decision, got his head in his hands, but it's a free kick to Leicester that will be taken by James Maddison. Fair to say that Maddison is one of the Leicester players to have gone off the boil of late. 1 goal in his last 13 after a pretty electrifying first half of the season. Johnny Evans, diagonal ball, looking for Harvey Barnes on the corner of the penalty area, but it clears both him and Gilbert and trickles out of play for an Aston Villa throw down by the corner flag.
Yeah, such a contrast to first 15 games of the season. I think 11 wins, 35 goals they scored, and then
Leicester have it back, and Iheanacho in the penalty area tried to wriggle through a challenge by Tyrone Mings, but he closed the gate just in time, and Villa clear it down the right-hand side, but it's a Leicester throw.
Yeah, and then talking about that, since Brendan Rodgers signed his new deal, 13 games, only scored 19. It's a massive difference, that.
Well, they scored 9 in one game, Chris, didn't they? Before Christmas down at Southampton, similar conditions to this.
They all count, though.
But it just showed what a free-flowing, free-scoring side they were at that time.
Yeah, I think there's too many of the players who have clearly lost form. Of course, hampered with Vardy's injury, that hasn't helped. He's been the main man once again for Leicester this season.
Well, they haven't scored a goal in their last 3 Premier League games. Jamie Vardy with 17 this season, but none in his last 6 in the Premier League. Maddison, 9 in all competitions, but 1 in his last 13. Tielemans isn't featuring tonight, no goals in 20. And Perez, not in the starting 11 tonight, no goals in his last 7. That's where you'd look for the goals to come from in this Leicester side, and they are drying up. Here's Johnny Evans approaching the halfway line. The rain still pouring down and swirling around in the floodlights here in Leicester. Ball down the line, that might skip off the turf, and that'll mean that Mark Albrighton can't keep it in play. Good idea, but the ball in these conditions is always going to run away after bouncing. Mark Albrighton, a free transfer from Aston Villa, one that got away before their relegation.
Yep, as a good servant, well, to Aston Villa and to Leicester. Couldn't keep that one in. Difficult pass on this surface this evening.
20 minutes gone, and Pepe Reina in all yellow. Didn't play in the Carabao Cup final. It was Neeland who was in goal for that. Yes, Reina's 6th Premier League appearance is arriving on loan from AC Milan.
I suppose a bit of a tough call, that, for Dean Smith. Neeland actually played very, very well, didn't he? In the League Cup final. Went for experience, though, this evening.
Soyuncu for Leicester City. Rolls it into the midfield to Ndidi. Back it goes to the centre-back, and now Kasper Schmeichel in all dark grey is outside of his penalty area, sends a long ball out to the right touchline to Ricardo Pereira. He heads forward straight to a Villa defender. Leicester have it back though through Ndidi. He immediately swings a pass out to the left-hand side to Harvey Barnes. El Mohammadi back defending in front of him. Barnes trying to skip past Gilbert, turns around and finds his full-back James Justin. Now Ndidi with a bit of time, not many options though. He has to go back to Soyuncu. Soyuncu's under pressure from Samatta into the Villa half on the left hand side, ball given away. Gilbert with a good challenge. Now it's James Maddison trying to wriggle away from a challenge by Douglas Luiz. He goes to ground. Michael Oliver on the spot, awards a free kick to Leicester 5 yards inside the Villa half.
Yeah, it was a free kick. You can see interesting battle there, isn't it? Gilbert and Barnes. Gilbert getting so tight to him, not letting him, Harvey Barnes, face him up and drive with the ball. Oh, he's such a danger.
Lovely ball by Barnes with the outside of his right boot to relieve Justin. Oh, he's fouled surely by Gilbert in the penalty area. Michael Oliver was on the spot and says he got the ball, no penalty. That might be one for the Premier League match centre and VAR. It was an untidy challenge. It wasn't the best first touch by James Justin as he went into the penalty area, invited the challenge. It came in, he went to ground. Michael Oliver says no penalty. Lovely ball at the start of that move though by Harvey Barnes.
It was incisive pass inside the full-back, but you have to say Michael Oliver, perfect position, must have only been 6 yards away, must have got it right.
No word yet on the VAR situation. I imagine that the check is complete. Here's Ricardo Pereira far side, and Leicester have a throw 10 yards away from the corner flag, taken quickly by Ricardo. Here's Albrighton, back to Ricardo on the right touchline. Down the line he goes to Dennis Pratt. That's a good looking cross. Nobody at the back post. Iheanacho had gone to the near post. Maddison was in there. Barnes was in there as well. And it's all the way out for an Aston Villa throw-in. So let's take a look at this one on our monitors, Chris.
Yep. Outside of the right foot, the pass, and Gilbert does get back with his, I think it's his left boot. Just was the slightest of touches, but it is a touch.
That goes down as a brilliant tackle.
It does.
But his heart would have been in his mouth ever so slightly.
I mean, that was millimetres, wasn't it?
Justin's looked lively, hasn't he, down the left-hand side? Preferred for Leicester, preferred to Christian Fuchs, the veteran, the Premier League title winner, in the absence of Ben Chilwell. Only his second Premier League start. Looks like a left-back who does like to get forward and attack.
Yeah, I think he's a versatile player, can play a number of positions. One who likes to get forward from that left-back role. A couple of decent runs he's had.
Very watchable Midlands derby so far. As we approach the 24-minute mark, flick on straight to Kasper Schmeichel in the Leicester penalty area. Leicester 0, Aston Villa 0, and both sides approaching this like they both quite fancy 3 points here tonight to aid their very differing, contrasting aims at the end of the season. Aston Villa want to be playing Premier League football next season. Leicester City want to be playing Champions League football next season. Untidy from Schmeichel, put Wilfred Ndidi in a bit of a spot on the edge of his own penalty area. He managed to work through it, and now Leicester into the Aston Villa half, and Dennis Pratt swings the ball out to the left-hand side, the former Sampdoria man, to Harvey Barnes. It was a little high for Barnes. He headed it down the line, but straight to an Aston Villa defender, Gilbert. The header won in the midfield by Ndidi. Now lobbed into the centre of the park by Barnes. A rather industrious challenge by El Mohammadi. No foul. Here's Luiz. The ball pinging around on a slick surface, and indeed he gets another challenge in, but El Mohammadi brings it away for Aston Villa, and then he runs into Johnny Evans, who makes a good block tackle, and now Ricardo has the ball and rolls it back to his goalkeeper. One or two moans and groans around the King Power that Ricardo went back to his goalkeeper instead of sending the ball forward.
Yeah, I think a little bit of patience, got to say. Good challenge from Johnny Evans. Well, when El Mohammadi 1v1 for a moment, but showed very little confidence, hesitated. Evans won the challenge. I think Brendan Rodgers will be saying we need to be patient. That's his style of management, style of play. Not one to just lump it forward. Likes to play out from the back.
But the high press is on again from Aston Villa. Horahan had taken up a position on the edge of the Leicester penalty area, which reduced the options for Kasper Schmeichel, but they've retained possession. Here's Söyüncü. Villa have the second poorest away record in the Premier League this season. They've lost 10 of their 14 games. They're only 2 wins. Well, they thumped Norwich 5-1, sorry Chris, and a 2-1 win at Burnley. But by and large, away from home, it's been pretty poor from Aston Villa. And their recent slide, along with some pretty good results from other strugglers of late, has left them in that bottom 3, 2 points from safety.
Yeah, and they were fortunate with the 5-1 at Norwich.
How many of those goals were fortunate then? Here's Iheanacho, back to the left touchline, and Justin. Iheanacho again, number 14 on his back. Big task for him tonight to fill the boots of Jamie Vardy, who's on the bench. Iheanacho infield was looking for Maddison, only found the opposite number 10, Jack Grealish. Maddison got a challenge in. Gilbert sends it down the right touchline for Aston Villa, but out of play. Leicester throw 10 yards inside their own half of play. As we approach 27 minutes here at the King Power Stadium.
You can see that, Leicester at the start of the season playing with a really good tempo and a fluency, quick passes, just a side lacking a little bit of confidence and belief. Villa, they've worked their way into this game. They had a couple of opportunities not taken. I think they'll fancy this,
Gilbert with the throw, and gets the ball back from Douglas Luiz as the first batch of substitutes go out to warm up down the touchline. Now Leicester may be in business, but Gilbert dispossesses Ndidi. Ndidi then fouls Gilbert, and it's a free kick to Aston Villa inside their own half. Taken quickly by Nakamba to Tyrone Mings, that tall figure, lime green boots for Aston Villa at the heart of their defence, the vice-captain for the Villains. Villa have a throw on the left-hand side, 10 yards inside the Leicester half of play. Yeah, Leicester's form, 1 win in their last 7, no wins in their last 4. The joint worst run they've had under Brendan Rodgers. They've taken 5 points from the last 21, so the gap has closed to 5th place. They were looking very comfortable indeed, and I think the real alarm bells started ringing with the lethargic performance in the 1-0 defeat at Norwich a couple of Fridays ago. Leicester have a throw now, 20 yards inside their own half, taken quickly by Justin. Here's Söyüncü, square to his centre-back partner Evans. Back it goes to Schmeichel under pressure from Horahan. It's a pass down the right-hand side in the air to Ricardo, who nods it down to Dennis Pratt. Signed from Sampdoria in the summer by Leicester City. Back it goes to Schmeichel. They're just probing away patiently here, Leicester. They've had 65% of the possession so far, but James sends it out of play. Took a little clip off El Mohammadi on its way, and Leicester have a throw.
He actually did well there, James. As the ball was switched from Schmeichel, looked a little bit too high, took it on his chest. El Mohammadi put him under pressure, but hooked it forward, deflected off him for the throw-in.
Nice first time ball in field by Harvey Barnes to find Ndidi. He swings it out to Albrighton on the right touchline. Back to the supporting defender is Ricardo. Here's Ndidi again. Showing for possession here is James Maddison. Little prod with the outside of his boot to Barnes. Helped on its way on the left hand side to Justin. Low cross comes in, and it's Engels sliding, who sends the clearance behind for a Leicester City corner kick, and it just appears the home side are starting to find a little bit of rhythm.
Yeah, quicker, slicker. Ball goes out to the left-hand side, and Justin whips the ball in, left-footed. Engels in a good position at the near post.
Taken short this time, and then back to Maddison. Here's Barnes inside the penalty area. Can he get a shot away? It's Luiz with the challenge. It falls to Justin on the left-hand side. Now Ricardo swings it to the back post. Possibilities here for Leicester City. Kelechi Iheanacho goes to ground, arms raised. Play on, says Michael Oliver. Interesting that Leicester didn't swing a corner in then, having had 3 headers from the previous 2. They took that one short. And Ndidi in towards Harvey Barnes. Gilbert with the header out, and they'll have a corner on the Leicester City right this time.
No, but they caused Villa a problem with their invention. Quick corner. Barnes couldn't get a shot off, but Villa, they really do look poor from set pieces. You mentioned it earlier. Conceded a lot more than anybody else from set plays. No surprise on tonight's evidence.
So James Maddison with the corner kick, whips it out right-footed. Mings with the header. The ball bouncing around on the edge of the 6-yard box and then hooked clear. Huge appeals for handball behind the goal from the Leicester fans. Michael Oliver again weighs play on. Leicester have possession now on the halfway line. James Justin, they're just starting to exert a little bit of pressure on that Aston Villa defence. Lovely balls diagonally swung out from left to right to Albrighton by Dennis Pratt. The stand up to the back post, backpedaling is Barnes, gets the header in, and Engels in front of his goalkeeper Pepe Reina heads it out. Kept in play though by Dennis Pratt. A roar from the home fans. They're encouraged by what they've seen in the last 5 minutes. Now James Justin has Samatta. Left hand side is Johnny Evans. Onside, plenty of room. Can he get across? He did, but he cannoned off Gilbert and out for another corner, this time on the Leicester left.
A decent few minutes for Leicester City. What a pass that was from Dennis Pratt, left to right. Barnes got the header in and cleared, and Leicester won the ball back, and they are the team probing now.
Leicester's 5th corner of the first half. 31 minutes on the clock. Leicester 0, Aston Villa 0. Taken short by Maddison to Justin, and he pings the ball back to Ricardo. Room for a cross, curls it in, needs a header, gets it from Iheanacho, and it's wide. What a chance on the edge of the 6-yard box, and he can't believe he's missed the target.
Yep, and another set piece. They work it short. What a ball in. And Iheanacho, he must have been 6 yards out. Peels in between Engels and Mings. The ball's right on the money. Middle of the goal, 6 yards out. Gets his timing all wrong. Simple as that. Doesn't hit the target. Goes agonisingly past Pepe Reina's right-hand post. Brendan Rodgers, arms in the air. He cannot believe Iheanacho has missed that. They don't come much easier than that.
Rodgers thought it was in. It came off the side of Iheanacho's head and went behind. He has scored 3 times in the Premier League. He has scored in all 3 games against Aston Villa this season. Well, I don't think either of those goals, or any of those goals, were as easy as that chance he's just missed there.
And he just needs to concentrate on the connection. Got it horribly wrong, really did. Can't believe this game is still 0-0 when we think about some of the chances which both teams have missed.
Huge worry defending crosses and corners and set pieces for Aston Villa, Chris, isn't it?
Well, they switch off when it goes in directly, and then when Leicester played short, they can't cope. If you're Leicester, you just think, let's win a few more corners, we'll score eventually.
Justin has a throw for the home team on the left-hand side, halfway inside the Leicester half of play. Rolls it to Maddison. Maddison sends it down the left-hand side. Iheanacho battling with Engels, who heads it out of play on the halfway line. Throw quickly taken by Justin, and he almost got away down the left-hand side. Good recovery by Gilbert to stab the ball out of play for another Leicester throw. We're now 15 yards inside the Villa half. 34 minutes on the clock. 5 Live Sport. 0-0 between Leicester City and Aston Villa, if you're just joining us. Here's Harvey Barnes, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Plays it back to Pratt. Now it's Ricardo. Rolls it out to the right-hand side, and Mark Albrighton. That cannons off Matt Targett. Out for a Leicester throw, 10 yards from the corner flag. Albrighton, who was at Aston Villa from the age of 8. I think he was devastated to be released on a free transfer, but it all went rather well at Leicester City. Featured in all 38 games when they won the title in 2016. Here's Johnny Evans on the right-hand side, just short of the halfway line. But Villa have it back. We haven't seen much of them as an attacking threat in the last 10 minutes. Grealish inside to Samatta. Good challenge by Sionchu. The ball ricochets off Samatta and back to Kasper Schmeichel.
Yes, on Grealish like that. The pass overweighted into Samatta. I have to say, the longer this half has gone on, it's Leicester who have been in control.
Well, a busy week of football continues. I told you about the Champions League commentary tomorrow night. Leipzig against Tottenham at 8 o'clock. Leicester attacking down their right-hand side. Iheanacho chases, but Mings gets there first. On Wednesday, Liverpool against Atletico Madrid. Full commentary on 5 Live from 8 o'clock. And the Manchester City-Arsenal Premier League rearranged fixture is on 5 Live Sports Extra on Wednesday from 7:30. Liverpool trailing by 1-0, the defending Champions League winners. Here's Dennis Pratt, right side of the penalty area, into the penalty area. It was a rash challenge almost by Horahan. Don't think there was any contact on Pratt, or he may have gone to ground. Back to Albrighton, right corner of the area. The chip goes in. It's Mings with the header, helped on its way by El Mohammadi, who gets the ball back on the right-hand side from Douglas Luiz and chips the ball down the right towards Samatta. A diving Soyuncu concedes the throw-in on the halfway line.
A bit of respite for Villa. They just cannot get up the pitch, taking the time with this throw-in. Samatta isolated. Just need to string a couple of passes together.
Here's Ndidi for Leicester City. James Justin on the left touchline. Nice piece of skill. That's appreciated by the home fans to evade Luiz. He played it back to Ndidi. And then it's across to the right-hand side. And Mark Albrighton. Support there through Ricardo. Back it goes into the Leicester half to Johnny Evans. He tries a diagonal ball towards Maddison, but Gilbert spotted that. And finds Luiz. A sliding challenge is a good one by Pratt, and now Leicester could be in on the left-hand side. Harvey Barnes into the penalty area, onto his right foot, straight at Reina. He was trying to bend it around Pepe Reina, tried to open his hips, but it was always too straight, no power on it, and quite easy in the end for the goalkeeper.
And I think he'll be really disappointed with this. Luiz caught in possession. Ball fizzed out to Barnes, who takes a really good first touch, left-hand side of the box, on his right foot, trying to bend it, 15 yards out into that far corner. And Reina gets down smartly to his left-hand side. Neither the accuracy or the power to beat Pepe Reina.
Barnes again, just short of the halfway line, finds Ndidi, and then Justin rolls it across the back four to Johnny Evans. Well, Aston Villa started this game very, very well indeed, but they've been pressed back in the last 10 or 15 minutes by this Leicester side, who are trying to shrug off their recent lethargy in the Premier League. Albright thought he had a throw in halfway inside the Villa half of play, but it goes the other way. Here's Grealish working against Dennis Pratt. Pratt easily dispossesses him, and now Pratt brings the ball up towards the halfway line on Leicester's right. He's a tidy operator, Dennis Pratt. He can win a ball back as well when required. But Leicester have lost the last 5 games that he started in the Premier League, so he'll hope to contribute to an improvement in that recent record. Soyuncu, he's got James Justin to his left, closed down by El Mohammadi. He skips past the challenge of Nakamba, but El Mohammadi dispossesses James Justin, and Nakamba now can bring the ball into the Leicester half. Gilbert forward on the right-hand side in support. He goes back into the midfield towards El Mohammadi, who is then fouled by Dennis Pratt. Right on the edge of the centre circle in the Leicester half. Aston Villa free kick.
Yeah, what a terrible pass from El Mohammadi. Well, from Nakamba into El Mohammadi. Allowed Pratt to have a nibble, but he does pull El Mohammadi after he actually wins the challenge.
Well, it's El Mohammadi, only his 4th Premier League start since August. His last was the 6-1 home defeat by Manchester City, and he's got his chance on the right-hand side, the veteran here tonight. Gilbert's going to take, Horahan is going to take this free kick, the Irishman. Left-footed, wide it goes to Gilbert. Had a decent angle for a cross. He was closed down though. Now he has the second attempt, and it cannons off the back of Harvey Barnes and out for a throw-in.
That was awful from Villa. You got the Villa centre-halves have run all the way forward, peeling away both sides of the box. Mings on the left, Engels on the right, wanting an early ball. And they try and work an angle, and the cross gets blocked, and they're jogged all the way back now.
Gilbert with the throw-in. He scored here in the League Cup semi-final first leg, yet to open his account in the Premier League, but Leicester have won the ball back in the midfield. That's a lovely ball down the left-hand side for Harvey Barnes. Reina's out. Harvey Barnes has an empty net. Can he put it in? He does! 1-0 to Leicester City. Calamitous from Pepe Reina, who came right out of his area, missed it completely. Harvey Barnes still had some work to do. He ignored the empty net to start with, took an extra touch, and then just put his shot side-footed through Tyrone Mings, who was approaching the goal line. And Harvey Barnes has given Leicester the lead, which on the last 15 minutes of play is deserved. Leicester City 1, Aston Villa 0. That's a nightmare for Pepe Reina.
Oh, and he's such an experienced keeper, but what an absolute shocker from Pepe Reina. Got to say, it's really well worked. The ball to Barnes, left-hand channel. Don't know where Rayner's going. He must be 15, 20 yards outside of his area. Barnes just pokes the ball past him. And then he still stays composed. Actually goes through Tyrone Ming's legs from about 20 yards. And he cuts inside. Brilliant from Barnes to finish it off, but an absolute gimme from Pepe Reina. Disastrous goalkeeping, really was. I think Leicester just about deserved the lead though, pressure which they've had last 20 minutes especially, but what a gift.
I wonder if we're getting Rob Green back on the line for half-time. Latest in the recent collection of goalkeeper howlers.
What was he thinking? I mean, there was no need for him to come. He must have been 20 yards outside his box. Terrible decision. If you have any doubt in your mind that you can't get there, don't come. Just stay. Villa had defenders back, and that's their most experienced player. He was brought in to settle the team down.
Well, Aston Villa meanwhile have a free kick themselves, which is curled into the penalty area, and they needed to communicate with each other, those Leicester defenders. Then in the end they do, and it rolls behind for a goal kick. For Harvey Barnes, that's 5 Premier League goals this season. He scored in 3 straight games recently against Burnley, West Ham and Chelsea. He's also added 6 assists. Is he on the fringes of a possible call-up, or is that a while away for someone like Harvey Barnes, Chris? Free kick to Leicester.
A yellow card here.
And Michael Oliver will show a yellow card to Cora Hurahan for the pullback, I think on Ricardo over there.
Yep.
It is.
Ricardo got the wrong side. So quick, isn't he? There's a tug back. Hurahan. No, interesting one, Barnes. Harvey Barnes. No, Gareth does like to give young players opportunities. He's done himself no harm. Tidy finish again tonight.
43 minutes gone here at the King Power Stadium. Leicester City lead Aston Villa by 1-0. Here's Barnes again, side of the penalty area, on his right foot, crosses in towards the back post, headed clear by Aston Villa before it could arrive at the head of Kelechi Iheanacho. And here's Barnes again, back to the edge of the area to Ndidi, who's been a calming presence in the centre of midfield for Leicester. A curling cross by Soyuncu. What was Gilbert doing, heading that one? The cross comes in, Tyrone Mings gets the header out, and they're under the pump here, the Aston Villa backline. They just can't get hold of the ball at the moment. Leicester's possession rises into the 70% region. Now James Maddison to the right hand side to Mark Albrighton. He's got Ricardo in support. Back it goes to Maddison on his right foot, tries to whip a cross in towards Johnny Evans, who'd stayed forward, but it's repelled and out for a Leicester throw taken quickly. Back to Maddison again. Edge of the penalty area is Kelechi Iheanacho, facing his own goal at the moment, finds his fellow Nigerian, Wilfred Ndidi. Now Dennis Pratt, left-hand side for Leicester. Onto his right foot, back to the halfway line, and Soyuncu, confident play by Leicester, chipped to the right-hand side by Ndidi. Here's Mark Albrighton, he was looking for Ricardo inside the penalty area, good defending by Matt Targett. Sends it forward down the left-hand side. Samatta does well against Soyuncu, ball at his feet, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Now switches to the left-hand side, and he did have Jack Grealish away, who was free, and then just took a missed touch, and that allowed Soyuncu to make a very, very good challenge. And that's a fierce tackle between Targett, is it, and Ricardo just inside the Aston Villa half, and that has left Matt Targett on the ground. It was a 50-50.
Yeah, it was one of those where both players are committed. Ricardo just going over to try and help Targett up. Tenacious defending, wasn't it, from Soyuncu initially? And Villa did have an opportunity to break out, but Ricardo just overhits. Takes a heavy touch, allows Targett to nibble, and he takes a sore one on his right ankle. Matt Targett.
We've just seen the board held aloft. 1 minute of time added on at the end of entertaining first 45 minutes.
You think Villa need half-time now, Arlo, don't they? They really have been under the pump, especially since the goal. Probably what they needed, Leicester City, though. Not scored, was it, in the last 3 games? get the confidence up, and they've popped the ball around really well.
Dean Smith, arms folded, and next to John Terry, and he's deep in conversation with his coaching staff, pointing out to various places on the field. Matt Targett is just limping off on the far side in order to come back on again. One of the options that Dean Smith does have, should he be required, is Danny Drinkwater, who's on the bench today for Aston Villa, a title winner here, of course, with Leicester City before being sold to Chelsea. He's arrived on loan at Aston Villa. The ball is back with Kasper Schmeichel, who's making his 200th Premier League appearance today for Leicester, 192 of them for the Foxes. His dad Peter once scored against Aston Villa in 2001, scored for Aston Villa, I should say, against Everton. He had one season at Villa Park towards the end of his career. Sent long down the middle by Schmeichel, one for Iheanacho to chase. He's done excellently against Tyrone Mings and keeps the ball in play. That's brilliant play by Iheanacho. And here's Albrighton, and in the end it's Mings who makes amends, kicks the ball against Albrighton, and it's out for a goal kick. Then a little shove for the former Villa man against the advertising boards, and the half-time whistle is imminent from Michael Oliver. In fact, there it is. Well, a lively first 45 minutes in this Midlands derby. Aston Villa in the bottom three, Leicester City in the top three, chasing Champions League football, and it's Harvey Barnes who has the only goal of the game so far, after a big mistake, it has to be said, by Pepe Reina. Leicester ending their three-match scoreless run in the Premier League. Chris, your thoughts as Leicester go to the break leading by 1-0?
Well, you have to say Villa had the better of the opening exchanges, missed two big opportunities, didn't take the chances, and then I thought Leicester grew into the game, had chances of their own, especially from corners. But the truth is, a horrendous error from Pepe Reina allowed Barnes in to finish, and then Villa hanging on really. I think they're glad for half-time, but Leicester, I think, do deserve their lead.
There we go, Mark. Halfway through, Leicester City 1, Aston Villa 0. Thank you, Mark. Welcome back to the King Power Stadium, where the rain has eased a little in the East Midlands. There was a real downpour in that first half. Aston Villa with some work to do in this second 45 minutes after the mistake by Pepe Reina. A rush of blood running out of his penalty area. Harvey Barnes got to the ball first, poked it past him, and then sent a low shot into the net through the legs of Tyrone Mings. That's the only goal of the game so far. Leicester dominated, I'd say, the final 20 minutes at least of that first half. Aston Villa missed a couple of very good chances through Horahan and through Samatta in the early stages. Chris Sutton alongside me. What are you looking for in this second half, Chris?
Well, I think from Aston Villa's point of view, they won't chase this game too early while it's 1-0. They'll try and be a little bit cagey. Won't want to concede a second though, of course. It'll be a long, long way back. Maybe impossible.
Here's Gilbert on the right-hand side for Aston Villa.
I think from Leicester's point of view, Arlo, it's replicate the final 25 minutes of that first half. Keep playing with that same tempo, moving the ball quickly. We should have enough. I think that would be the message from Brendan Rodgers.
So Aston Villa have a free kick then. We're about 5 yards in from the right touchline, and Horahan with his left foot will curl it towards the edge of the penalty area. Not a good service, headed clear on the edge of the area by Iheanacho, and now it's Matt Targett who rolls a right-footed pass all the way back to Pepe Reina, who's closed down by James Maddison, and he sends it into the Leicester half. A robust header by James Justin, and away goes Iheanacho into the penalty area. On his left foot, saved by Reina, and then flicked away by Matt Targett. That's a good chance for Kelechi Iheanacho. Clean through. I think there'll be an inquest at the back there for Aston Villa, but Iheanacho misses his second very good chance of the game after that header in the first half as well.
It was actually a weak clearance from Reina. Tried to clip the ball forward, and it was one header from a Leicester defender, and Iheanacho is in on goal. Just seeing it again here on the monitor. Reina doesn't get enough on his clearance. I think it's Justin who heads the ball forward, and Iheanacho left hand side of the box drives a shot, and Reina stands big, saves it. Big opportunity for Leicester, wasted.
Tyrone Mings meanwhile is down on the edge of the penalty area, and you remember that game in December, the 4-1 victory for Leicester City when the diamond worked wonders for them. and it was Tyrone Mings who pulled his hamstring that day, and in leaping to try and block that Iheanacho shot, he looks like he's done some damage. Now, he slid in on the edge of the 6-yard box, so he clearly got back on his feet again and made it out of the penalty area, but is on the ground getting treatment now from the Aston Villa trainers.
Yeah, that doesn't look good. Didn't seem like a collision. It's, as you said, it's good. Well, he's back on his feet now. Whether he's moving too well.
Yeah, he's got to go off before coming back on again. A little grimace there, Chris, wasn't there?
Well, it wasn't like it was a collision or something where it's a blow. He obviously felt something wasn't right. They need him, not just for tonight, but for the rest of the season. I think he is their best, or Aston Villa's best centre-back. The one who tries to organise.
Well, Leicester have dominated the early exchanges in this second half. James Justin has just won a free kick for them, left-hand side, halfway inside the Villa half. It's going to be the right foot of James Maddison to swing it in towards the edge of that penalty area, and the header comes in from Johnny Evans, and once again Leicester get their heads to it first. It's gone wide. Evans may be a little disappointed, but set pieces look like a very, very promising way to break down this Aston Villa backline.
Yes, a dream of a ball, isn't it? So much pace on the ball, whipped in from the left-hand side, halfway inside the Villa half, and Evans tries to just use the pace of the ball to direct it on target, but puts it slightly wrong, goes past Rayner's right-hand post.
Jack Grealish has been a little peripheral tonight, Chris, hasn't he, for Aston Villa? Only 15 touches in the first half. Only Pepe Reina had fewer. Here's Albrighton. His route to the edge of the penalty area is blocked, though, by Gilbert. And here is Jack Grealish with a rare touch tonight. Now, last week, Dean Smith played him in the centre of midfield. Is it a situation, particularly in a game like this, of this importance, where Grealish has to be stationed somewhere in order to get involved in the game a little bit more?
Yeah, well, they need to get him on the ball. We've seen him on the drift in this second half. I think the longer the first half went, the worry for Villa, Samatta too isolated. When the ball did go into him, the likes of Grealish and Mohamedi were too deep, didn't get up in touch of him.
Villa in possession through El Mohamedi, out to the right hand side, and Gilbert flicks it down the line to Luis. It was Soyuncu who challenged him immediately, out by the corner flag, and it's a goal kick. No, he's changed his mind, I think, has he? Has he awarded a corner there, Chris? No, it is a goal
kick, and he's not happy with the decision.
50 minutes gone at the King Power Stadium. Leicester City 1, Aston Villa 0. Leicester, who have a 5-point cushion now on Manchester United in 5th, chasing Champions League football for the second time in their club's history. It would be an incredible achievement to do so, said Brendan Rodgers. Now there's 10 games to go. It was his aim when he took over, when he left Celtic last February, to get into the top 6 and maybe win a cup. They got to the semi-final of the League Cup, beaten by Aston Villa. They're in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. They host Chelsea. The cross comes into the Leicester penalty area. The flicked header by Ricardo falls to Horahan. He's on his right foot. He gets a shot in and it goes over the crossbar. He'd have preferred it on his left, forced onto his right, just got underneath it.
Yeah, that all came from Soyuncu trying to play out from the back, clip a ball into midfield. Luis won the ball back, popped it out wide. The cross came in. Ricardo actually defended the first cross okay, but headed the ball out to Horahan, who, as you quite rightly said, chops in from the left-hand side onto his right foot. Only a yard over the bar, that, from the edge of the box.
Just slipped as he was taking his shot. His left foot gave way underneath him.
That's all it takes, though. One sloppy moment. We saw Villa concede from a poor error of judgment from the goalkeeper.
He's back with Schmeichel, who finds the chest of Ricardo with great accuracy on the right touchline. A pretty strong challenge by target on Albrighton, no foul. Leicester have the ball centre of the park inside their own half through Soyuncu. And here's James Justin. He was trying to find the goal scorer Harvey Barnes down the left touchline, but it's straight out of play for an Aston Villa throw. Justin in for the England left-back Ben Chilwell, 22 years of age. His second Premier League start. Saw plenty of the ball down the left-hand side for Leicester in the first half. The rain has intensified again. We can see it swirling in the spot lamps that hang beneath the roof here at the King Power Stadium. Jet black skies above us. Here's Iheanacho into the Villa half on the left-hand side. He has an option down the left-hand side. He goes infield though to James Maddison. Lovely drop of the shoulder to evade the challenge and almost played it through to Harvey Barnes. Good defending by Aston Villa. Barnes slips on the edge of the penalty area. Ndidi with the ball for Leicester, swings it out to Albrighton. He shows far too much of that to Matt Targett, who almost kept the ball in play. Not quite. Leicester throw in taken quickly. Well, almost quickly by Albrighton. He leaves it for Johnny Evans.
So good, isn't he, Arlo? James Maddison, those little turns, the way he shapes to go one way and pirouettes the other way.
Well, both he and Grealish may hope to be in that England squad for the next break before the Euros.
Well, I mean, there's a very strong argument. Micah Richards, a big fan of Grealish, had this debate at the start of the season where I thought Maddison was clearly ahead of Grealish, but I think recent form, there are those who would argue Grealish has been better than Maddison. I have to say I'd agree with that.
Thrown to Aston Villa, halfway inside their own half on the left-hand side. 54 minutes gone. If you're just joining us here on 5 Live Sport, Arlo White and Chris Sutton with you from the King Power Stadium on a Monday night under the floodlights. The Midlands derby at the moment going the way of Leicester City, but it's a slender 1-0 advantage against Aston Villa. Ricardo wins the ball back, but then Pratt can't find Albrighton, and it's a throw-in once again to be taken by Matt Targett on the left-hand side, and Brendan Rodgers in his technical area, hands in his pockets. Dean Smith to his left. This time it is a Leicester throw. It's all quite tight to the touchline.
And do you know what? They're inviting pressure, aren't they, Aston Villa? Short throw in.
Mings can't get anything on that, and Pratt wins his side a corner. Engels with the challenge. It's on Leicester's right hand side. James Maddison, I suspect, will trot over to take it, and they've had opportunities from set pieces so far tonight. They haven't taken advantage of them. Maybe this time for Leicester with their their 6th corner of the game. Leicester kicking from left to right in this second half, 10 minutes into the second half. He's got white wristbands on, James Maddison, places the ball carefully in the quadrant. Right-footed, left arm raised, he'll swing this out, goes towards the near post, the heads go up, it was Mings who got his head to it. Here's Ricardo, rolls it to the left-hand side to Justin, he stabs it into the penalty area. Mings with the header again, the tallest man on the field. Tied in a little ball by Pratt to find Johnny Evans, edge of the penalty area. Out to James Justin, might have a little run here at El Mohammadi. Finds Albrighton on the corner of the penalty area. Evans now on the left-hand touchline, scoops a pass down the left-hand side towards Iheanacho, but it rolls out of play for a goal kick to Aston Villa.
A bit of a waste that. Iheanacho had stayed forward, was looking for a diagonal ball in to the far post where it peeled on target. Had the size advantage there.
Ball sent long down the right-hand side by Pepe Reina. The flick on to no one in particular. Well, it was Johnny Evans who then sends it into the Aston Villa half. Mings wins a header, and then the ball is won back by Harvey Barnes, who's fouled off the ball. Maddison into Iheanacho in the penalty area, closed down by 2 Aston Villa defenders, couldn't get a shot away, and it's cleared for a throw in. But Barnes would have been an option down the left-hand side, but was dragged to the floor, possibly I think by Gilbert, not spotted by referee Michael Oliver. Leicester still have the ball though through Albrighton, and then Ricardo in the right corner of the penalty area. Pratt back to Albrighton. Back it goes to Ricardo, the return to Albrighton, right hand side, and it's the cross is blocked by Grealish and out for a throw.
Tell you what though, we saw Iheanacho, another opportunity, heavy touch, poor touch, allowed Mings to get back and make the challenge. Iheanacho, frustration, got down on his knees and punched the floor. That was a big opportunity. Leicester very, very wasteful. Nice incisive pass from Barnes into Iheanacho. 10 yards inside the box, fluffed his lines.
Maddison long ball to the right side of the penalty area. First time layoff by Albrighton to Pratt, corner of the area. Attempted cross, blocked again by Grealish, away for another corner for Leicester City.
This is turning into a bit of a mauling, isn't it, at this moment in time? Aston Villa, they will have to change something, Dean Smith. They cannot get up the pitch. Inviting pressure. Leicester midfield not allowing the Villa midfield to play. Once again an opportunity from a corner for Leicester, where Villa have looked decidedly vulnerable.
It's going to be tight, isn't it, for Aston Villa in their quest for survival. It's taken short to Albright and then back to Ricardo. Well closed down though by Samatta. His attempted cross balloons back towards the Leicester defence. That's a little loose by James Justin. Ricardo does well under pressure from Grealish. Which way is this throwing going to go? It's the way of Aston Villa. 10 yards inside their own half on the left hand side. Villa, including tonight, Chris, 5 of their next 6 are against teams currently in the top 6. They can't get John McGinn back quick enough. He fractured his ankle before Christmas, didn't he? I think there's going to be a change here for Leicester City. Looks like Jamie Vardy is coming on to the field. But it's going to be very, very tight for Aston Villa between now and the end of the season. And listen to the reception from the Leicester fans as Jamie Vardy walks towards the touchline, pulls his black gloves on. And you suspect he might come on here for Kelechi Iheanacho. Yes, there's the board with a red number 14 illuminated. Iheanacho had his chances. He's appreciated by the Leicester fans who are giving him a standing ovation.
Well, I wonder whether it was a bit of a last straw, that miss just a few moments ago from the pass from Harvey Barnes. But Jamie Vardy on, I think he would have gobbled up that opportunity. Good to see him back. They need him back. Absolutely do. He's their main man.
Well, it's his 300th appearance for Leicester City. He has scored 124 goals in that time. He scored on his debut against Torquay in August of 2012, but he's missed a couple of starts with a calf problem. Brendan Rodgers saying before the game that they want to look after him to make sure he's okay for the rest of the season. Let's have the ball back through Dennis Pratt, and it goes to James Maddison, who pokes it through towards Harvey Barnes, who was scampering towards goal. It was well repelled that time by Gilbert. Obviously Vardy was another option running towards the penalty area, but he hasn't scored since December the 21st. Incredible, really, and the sort of season he's had. He's flagged for offside here, Vardy, but he's still the joint top scorer in the Premier League, and he hasn't scored since December the 21st. He's got 17.
It just shows you how prolific he was in the early part of the season. Not a bad sub to bring on, though, Jamie Vardy.
And Moa El Ghazi is going to come on as well for Aston Villa. He's getting ready. Here's Justin down the left-hand side for Leicester, and he sends Harvey Barnes sprinting away towards the penalty area. Vardy's at the far post. Barnes might not need him. Vardy, no! He had a chance. Oh, is it going to be handball? It's a penalty. Vardy was at the back post. Barnes looked for him with a right-footed pass. It went behind Vardy, and it's taken a deflection off an arm. Is it Tyrone Mings? Maybe Engels. Yeah. Michael Oliver points to the spot.
I think it's Tyrone Mings, and he says it's his shoulder. Do you know what? I tell you what, I think Tyrone Mings might be right there.
There's a VAR review.
Well, Michael Oliver went early. Jamie Vardy appealed. But we saw the incidents, wasn't it? A couple of incidents at Burnley, wasn't it? Was it Burnley?
Yes, against Bournemouth, wasn't it?
Well, you know, you're down to where does the arm start? I think that's off his shoulder.
Well, it has to be a clear and obvious error, doesn't it?
Well,
and that's going to be...
Where does your arm start?
Yeah. Michael Oliver will have informed the VAR official, who tonight is Harry Lennard, that he felt it was handball. It was Barnes who played the ball towards Vardy. That could have been
you call that?
That could have been a big, an amazing moment for Vardy, having just come onto the field, and it looks like the check is complete and the decision stands.
How can you give that?
Well,
he's awarded it at first, but it goes to VAR. I think that's off his shoulder. I do.
Yep. Well, the story is Jamie Vardy will take the penalty. He's only just come onto the field. He missed last time he took one against Burnley. Leicester lost that game. Reina is on his line, hands on his knees. Leicester lead by 1-0. Vardy peering intently at the ball. He steps up now, right-footed. Vardy scores! Straight down the middle. Vardy off the bench. Back in action for the Leicester City. and he's scored his 18th Premier League goal of the season, and Leicester increase their advantage in this massive Midlands derby to 2-0. The penalty stood after a VAR review, handball against Tyrone Mings, and Vardy dispatched the spot kick. Leicester City 2, Aston Villa 0.
Yeah, little couple of steps, runs up to the ball, sends Reina the wrong way, goes down the middle really, and then I think he has words with Pepe Reina. He's not happy about something, turns his head and says something to Pepe Reina, but Leicester, they've been very, very good in this second half, but how that penalty was awarded, well, I really don't know. I think Aston Villa harshly done by there. Jamie Vardy, what an impact.
Well, his goal drought is over. Before tonight, he went 641 Premier League minutes without a goal, and he's broken that now. He's first in the Premier League since December the 21st. It may even have been his first touch. I remember him coming off the bench in a game at Wembley against Spurs last season when he came on and took a penalty immediately and missed it, but he kept his cool that time, down the middle to beat Reina. Going down is the chant now from the Leicester fans towards the corner. A glum corner of Aston Villa travelling support. Leicester lead by 2-0. Mings with a left-footed pass back to Reina, who's closed down by Maddison, sends it down the middle into the Leicester half. It's Johnny Evans with the header. That falls to the feet here of the substitute Al Ghazi, and they're going to make another change here. It looks like Keenan Davis is coming on for Aston Villa. Villa have the ball on the right hand side, back to Douglas Luiz. Showing in the midfield is Conor Hourihane, sent across to the left hand side to Tyrone Mings with his luminous yellow boots. Now Matt Targett, the left back, closed down by Mark Albrighton. Cuts in field, pass to the left hand side to Mings. He leaves that short of Hourihane. It's intercepted by Leicester, down the line from Ricardo, and now it's James Maddison, and down the line to Jamie Vardy. Vardy being chased by Targett. He's all alone at the moment, Jamie Vardy, right hand side of the penalty area. Here's Maddison arriving, goes down under the challenge by Hourihane. No penalty, says Michael Oliver. It did appear that he went to ground rather easily there, and Oliver had a great view of it.
James Maddison, he wants the penalty, but I think he's tried to buy that one when a little pass from Vardy goes in. There were hands in the back. I think Hourihane hands in the back, but he throws himself to the floor. He's better than that.
Marvellous. Nakamba wins possession back of Wilfred Ndidi. Aston Villa in the attack now with 65 minutes on the clock at the King Power Stadium. Leicester City 2, Aston Villa 0. And if Leicester can close this out, they will go 8 points clear of Manchester United in 5th place in the hunt for Champions League football. The cross by Matt Targett's left foot. Suyuncu miscues his clearance, but it arrives at the feet of Dennis Pratt. He calmly plays it back to the edge of his own penalty area, and Johnny Evans forward towards Maddison, intercepted though by the Zimbabwean international Marvellous Nakamba, and then a foul on Jack Grealish, the most fouled player in the Premier League, halfway inside the Leicester half on the left hand side, 5 yards in from the touchline, and the substitution will be made, and here comes Keenan Davis.
An opportunity for Villa to throw the ball into the box. Centre backs go forward. Looks their best bet of scoring a goal, actually.
Davis is on for Conor Hourihane. Matt Targett swings it in with the left foot, headed clear by Evans towards the corner of the penalty area. Claims of a foul by the Aston Villa fans over on the far side by Ndidi. It was outside the penalty area anyway. Michael Oliver said no foul, and Leicester have made progress down the left hand side and won themselves a throw in.
I don't think that was a foul. Both players challenging for the ball.
Suyuncu passes back to his goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel. In the penalty area on the right hand side is Johnny Evans. A measured ball to Ricardo, who's got all sorts of space in behind Jack Grealish, and he motors forward into the Villa half untouched and almost plays it in to Jamie Vardy. It was Tyrone Mings who got something on it. The ball bounced nicely for Mark Albrighton, who exchanges passes on the right hand side with Ricardo. Now here's Dennis Pratt, number 26 on his back, the Belgium international, across the halfway line now to Suyuncu. Leicester fans sing "We're on our way." They fancy some European football here at the King Power Stadium for the second time in 4 seasons. The best they would have hoped for would have been Europa League at the start of the season, Chris, but now they've been thinking Champions League for a while now.
Yep, and this would be a huge 3 points because they have fallen away in recent times. They have been, well, so far worth the 3 points. This evening have been the better side. I think the 3 points, of course, important, but the confidence which they seem to have gained, they've grown this evening after the first goal especially, really controlled the game.
Well, Leicester have 4 of their next 5 games away from home. They've got a reunion of sorts with their former manager Nigel Pearson at Vicarage Road at the weekend. Then it's Everton away after a home game against Crystal Palace. They travel to Arsenal and Bournemouth. So some very tough tests to come, and Brendan Rodgers has set a target of a minimum of 5 wins in their final 10 games. This may be the first of them, but there's plenty of time left for a Villa recovery. The ball falls to Mark Albright just outside the area, but Ricardo's going to be penalised for a foul on Jack Grealish just outside the centre circle in the Villa half, and Villa have a free kick.
Of course, with Ian Davis coming on there, Villa 2 up top. 4-4-2 now. Physical presence with Davis and Samatta, but they need the service, of course. I wonder where that's going to come from, because Leicester have really dealt with them after those first couple of early opportunities. Leicester back line have dealt with Villa's attack pretty comfortably.
Grealish challenged by Ricardo, and now he's incensed by Michael Oliver's decision to award the throw-in to the home side. With his palms raised, sprinting towards Michael Oliver, Jack Grealish. And Leicester have the throw. It was indeed Jamie Vardy's first touch, having come on as a 59th minute substitute to dispatch that penalty kick. Here's Luis, who finds marvellous Nakamba.
Bad challenge.
Foul by Dennis Pratt, but advantage being played. There wasn't much of an advantage, in fairness to Aston Villa, but they've retained possession. Dean Smith not happy with that, shouting towards the referee. Luis, edge of the area, well, 15 yards outside it is Jack Grealish. Now Nakamba, Grealish has it back. Socks at half-mast, of course, and those tiny shin pads in there. Wilfred Ndidi trying to win the ball back off him.
I think he's going to book Dennis Pratt
for the previous one that he played the advantage on.
Yep, Dennis the Menace. Poor challenge, went to ground, and then Grealish clipped. It's important, Leicester, just seeing that Pratt challenge again. It was nasty. It's important Leicester don't allow Villa back into this game, though. They need to be ruthless. Of course, at 2-0, the next goal always so important.
As we enter the final 20 minutes here, Leicester, their defence lined up on the edge of the penalty area. It's floated across, it flicks off the head of Johnny Evans. James Justin will keep the ball in play and prevent the corner kick, sends it down the line to Harvey Barnes, and he'll have a run here at marvellous Nakamba, who does excellently to dispossess the young Englishman, born in Countersthorpe in Leicester. And Villa have the ball now through Gilbert into the Leicester half. A nice drop of the shoulder by El Ghazi down the right hand side. The cross though is cannons off James Justin for a throw in 5 yards or so from the corner flag in front of the travelling Villa support in the corner of the King Power Stadium. And it comes to nothing. El Ghazi wanted the foul, not given, the ball's out of play, and it's a goal kick to Leicester.
Not enough in there. El Ghazi has to be stronger off the throw and tries to drop a shoulder and throw just in the dummy.
Schmeichel had options either side of him from the goal kick, but lofts the ball out to the left-hand side to James Justin. The ball back at his feet, and claims of a foul by El Ghazi on Justin. Play waved on, and so Yunchu concedes a throw in to Aston Villa, who are just starting to build a little bit of pressure in this Leicester half, trailing by 2-0 here on 5 Live Sport. Dean Smith in the technical area, hands deep in his tracksuit bottoms pockets.
Well, he's gambled, hasn't he, with 2 up top, and of course that will have its risks, because the way Leicester play, the pace that Vardy has, and there is space in behind, could cause Villa a problem or two, but Villa have to get back into this game.
Tyrone Mings, who conceded that penalty for Leicester's second goal somewhat controversially. Ricardo is down on the ground. It's a challenge on Jack Grealish, and it's a free kick to Aston Villa, but Ricardo has come off second best. It's the flip side of what happened in the first half after a challenge between those two, when Grealish was penalised for the foul, but he stayed down injured.
Well, I don't know how many fouls he's made on Grealish this evening, but I think that, he's lucky to get away with that one as well. Grealish just nicking in front of him. Ricardo committed. Did bring Grealish down.
Ricardo's still down on the ground. Going back to that penalty then, Chris, we've seen goals disallowed for offside because of the line that's drawn towards the armpit where the shoulder ends. I mean, looking at the replays, and we had the benefit of the replays, but that's what VAR have, isn't it? I mean, it was clearly off Mings' shoulder, wasn't it?
Well, that's what I thought. Where does the arm start? I'm baffled by it. Looked like his shoulder to me, but then how can they be exact with that? How can they make that? It looked like a shoulder to most people around the world, I suppose.
It's that phrase, clear and obvious error, isn't it? If Michael Oliver, the on-field official, has made that decision based on what he's seen, it has to be a clear and obvious error.
Well, clear and obvious where your arm starts.
Yeah.
Clearly was his shoulder.
Target with the free kick, and just hopping around on the sideline is Ricardo. Leicester temporarily down to 10 men, swung into the back post, and it was a good header clear by Ndidi. Engels was coming in behind him, and now James Justin plays the ball down the left hand side for Harvey Barnes, but it'll go straight to Gilbert, and he'll drop it back to Pepe Reina. Yuri Tielemans will come on very shortly for Leicester City. He's just sprinting on the spot with his baggy white shorts in the Leicester technical area. Evans wins a header. Albrighton challenging, brings the ball down nicely on his chest, finds Ricardo, who's back on the field now. Maddison may just have lent into Nakamba there. Nothing came of it though, as the ball was intercepted by Engels, and now it's back in the Villa half with Tyrone Mings. Forward to Nakamba, square ball to Luis, heavy first touch, almost robbed of possession by James Maddison. Then Nakamba does well to find Grealish. Into the Leicester half now, Samatta, and it was a challenge by Evans, who's going to get a yellow card. I think he's claiming that he slipped. But it's a yellow card nonetheless for the Northern Irishman. It's left Samatta in a heap on the ground. Villa free kick 10 yards inside the Leicester half.
Yeah, he's committed, isn't he? Johnny Evans goes in. Samatta makes a movement towards the ball. He says he slips. I don't think it makes any difference. He goes to ground. He brings Samatta down. Yellow card. Dennis Pratt leaving the field. Tielemans on.
Yuri Tielemans sprints onto the field. Leicester's record signing, £35 million from Monaco, who's seen a little bit of time on the bench of late. Grealish sends it in. Could be awkward for Schmeichel, but catches it well.
That's what you want from your keeper. Committed, came out, read the flight of the ball superbly well.
He'll be keen to get a clean sheet tonight, Chris. He kept 9 so far this season, but only 2 in the last 13. Coinciding with Leicester's dip in form. Leicester in the attack on the left-hand side. Through Barnes is going to have a little run here at Gilbert. Can he get a crossover? He does, and it's awkward. It flashes across the 6-yard box. Vardy was at the near post, and there were no takers in the penalty area, and Jack Grealish brings the ball clear. And then a challenge by Albrighton. The Leicester fans think he won the ball. Michael Oliver disagrees. Jack Grealish slow to his feet. Free kick to Aston Villa, 15 yards inside their own half on the left touchline.
Yeah, what a ball that was from Harvey Barnes. Faces Gilbert up, drives to the byline and fires the ball across. Albrighton just needed to gamble on his heels at the far post, and had he done so, it would have been the easiest goal of his career.
Mings takes a free kick forward. Seunchu wins the aerial duel with Keenan Davis. And now Engels, that pass is intercepted by Harvey Barnes. Ahead of him is Jamie Vardy. He skips past the challenge of Engels. He's forced wide though down the left-hand side. Harvey Barnes, 3 blue shirts in the penalty area. He's running at Gilbert, sends another cross in. This time he's overhit it and it goes out of play on the Aston Villa left-hand side. But he's a lively presence on that left-hand side for Leicester, Harvey Barnes. He may be disappointed with that service though, with 3 blue shirts to aim for.
Yeah, I think so. You can see he's such a threat, and he opens his legs up, faces defenders up, and just drives with the ball. Can go inside and outside. Once again getting to the byline, but cross not the best that time, overhit.
Doesn't hesitate to have a go at the fullback, does he?
No, and it's very difficult to play against because of the fact he can go both ways.
Keenan Davis for Aston Villa. Into the Leicester half, he's got an option on the right hand side. It's Gilbert on the edge of the penalty area, gets the shot away, but it's straight at Kasper Schmeichel. Under pressure from Soyuncu, then Schmeichel rolls it out superbly to James Maddison, who's up against Nakamba in the midfield. Flicks the ball to his left hand side to James Justin, who's joined the attack. The game becoming very stretched. 78 minutes in, the ball threaded in towards the penalty area towards Maddison, but it's repelled this time by Aston Villa. The clearance though only as far as Wilfred Ndidi, who's been a very steady presence once again in that midfield for Leicester City. A miscue by Maddison trying to find Tielemans on the edge of the area. Now it's Keenan Davis in a one-on-one with Soyuncu. Turns up facing the goal, sends it forward into the path on the edge of the penalty area. It was a decent challenge by Johnny Evans, a double challenge, the second one whilst he was on the ground.
And he had to get that right because he has been booked a moment or two ago. Johnny Evans did get it right.
Well, it's end-to-end at the moment, and here come Leicester down the left-hand side. And it's Harvey Barnes who's on the edge of the penalty area, but it's goal! Jamie Vardy's got his second. He was looking for Harvey Barnes, the ball bounced back to him. The angle wasn't great at all, but he's lashed a right-footed shot inside the near post of Pepe Reina. Jamie Vardy, who hadn't scored since December the 21st, now has 2 as a substitute in this Midlands derby. 19 in the Premier League so far this season for the former England man, and surely all 3 points now to Leicester City in their quest for Champions League football. Leicester 3, Aston Villa 0.
Now, what a finish this is from Jamie Vardy. Instinctive finish from one end to the other. Evans made the challenge, they win the ball back. Barnes on the left hand side pops the ball out to Vardy on the left wing, who drives on the inside, tries to feed the ball back to Barnes, comes off a Villa defender, just pops up. Was he just 8 yards out at the angle, sets the ball and hammers a half volley past Pepe Reina at his near post. Too much pace for Reina, and Jamie Vardy has been too much for Aston Villa.
As the rain intensifies, we're seeing a close-up of Dean Smith on our screen, the rain bouncing off his coat, a forlorn expression on his face. Well, what an impact made by Jamie Vardy off the bench. He's had 4 touches, he's had 2 shots on target, including a penalty, and has scored 2 goals. What a way to end a rare drought in the Leicester City career of Jamie Vardy. And by the way, he's on to 99 Premier League goals now.
Some finish, wasn't it? Really instinctive as the ball came back. One touch, second touch, bang. Past Pepe Reina, absolutely lashed it in.
Indeedy for Leicester, who are hunting more. Not been a good night at all for Aston Villa. Harvey Barnes cuts in off that left flank. The ball falls to Tielemans. He tees it up for James Maddison, left-footed, and the shots cannons off the feet of Tyrone Mings, and it's away for another corner to the Foxes.
Well, Villa all over the place, aren't they? Tielemans wanted the free kick, but Michael Oliver allowed the play to go on, and Maddison driving into the box on the left-hand side. Left-footed shot was blocked.
Vardy hadn't scored in 9 appearances in all competitions. 2 in the blink of an eye here tonight in this East Midlands monsoon. The corner comes in, I think that's come off an Aston Villa head. It has Mings, and it's away for a corner on the Leicester right this time, so James Maddison's going to have to trot across the whole width of the field. Nempalis Mendy will come on into that midfield, central midfield for Leicester City for the closing stages. 82 minutes gone. 5 Live Sports at the King Power Stadium. Arlo White and Chris Sutton with you. Leicester 3, Aston Villa 0. And remember, coverage of the Cheltenham Festival starts on 5 Live Sports Extra, 1:15 tomorrow. And then live commentary on the Champions League, Leipzig against Spurs, 5 Live at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Corner swung out deep by Maddison. It's a Leicester player who wins the header. Ndidi in the penalty area trying to get a shot away. Nakamba did very well. He's tripped. Free kick to Aston Villa inside their own penalty area, and they can relieve the immediate danger. And Leicester want to make their switch. And Wilfred Ndidi, such an important player for Leicester. He had knee surgery in January, and he looks to be back to his best. He's gone 82 minutes here tonight, and he's replaced by Mendy.
They've had a very strong game. Wilfred Ndidi, key to this Leicester team, the way they function, the way they work. Sits in front of the back line, breaks play up, keeps things simple, keeps them ticking, and allows those more forward-thinking players the freedom to roam a bit more. $32,125 is the attendance, and they're all going to get extremely wet on the way home. The heavens have opened once again. Rain pouring down here in Leicester. I don't think a majority of the crowd are going to mind too much, with Leicester City leading Aston Villa by 3-0, approaching the final 6 minutes of the 90. Here come Leicester again down the left-hand side. Justin, back to Maddison. Maddison going across field. He's got Ricardo on the right. He was looking for Tielemans. Tielemans couldn't bring the ball under control, but Leicester have it back. Mendy gets his first touch, and now he's second, and now he's third. Rolls it square to Maddison. Maddison between the lines to Tielemans. Nice football from Leicester down the right-hand side is Albrighton. The goal! What a finish! Harvey Barnes has got his second of the game. That's a terrifically worked goal by Leicester City, and they're tearing Aston Villa apart here at the King Power Stadium. 2 for Barnes, 2 for Vardy, 4 for Leicester. Well, barnstorming this was. It really was so slick. They've grown the longer the game has gone on. Some of the passing here, exquisite. Just pop it around, Maddison into Tielemans. 1 touch, 2 touches, the ball goes out wide. And then the cross, Albrighton into Barnes, doesn't break stride. Just strolls onto the ball, level with the near post, about 12 yards out, and fires the ball past Pepe Reina, uses the pace of the ball. Just caresses it into the corner, in past Pepe Reina. No blame attached to the keeper. Wonderful team goal. Fantastic finish from Harvey Barnes.
Well, he got the scoring started in the first half, Harvey Barnes, after a mistake by Pepe Reina. That was a lovely, crisp, right-footed finish into the corner by the young Englishman. And Leicester City exacting some revenge, I suppose, for being eliminated in the League Cup semi-final over 2 legs by Aston Villa. These points could be absolutely crucial in their quest for the Champions League. They will re-establish an 8-point buffer on 5th placed Manchester United. You know, their form, Chris, has been so poor, 3 wins in 12, but because of the lack of consistency by teams below them, it hasn't done them that much damage. But they were just starting to close the gap, and things were getting a little twitchy here. Here come Leicester again. Tielemans outside the penalty area. He's got options. He's going to go for goal, and it was always rising above Pepe Reina's crossbar and behind into the crowd.
But they've got the swagger back, haven't they? Leicester City had a dodgy start to the game, you'd have to say, but for 65 minutes they have been dominant. And the longer the game has gone on, they've played some exquisite stuff. They really have. So it's not just the 3 points for Leicester tonight, it's the confidence they've played with.
Albrighton has been challenged there by Target. It was late. Michael Oliver sees...
But how does he not book him for that? I mean, that was really late. Target, on target with Albrighton.
Just took the sting out of it. Michael Oliver just said, just calm down. No yellow card for Target. And we're into the final 3 minutes here on a night that Leicester City have bounced back to form. They're only winning their last 6 home games. They also scored 4 in that game against West Ham. Got a foul on Tielemans by Grealish. No, says Michael Oliver, and Aston Villa will try and build down their left-hand side, and things are looking rather grim for Villa now. A very tough spell of games coming up. This will be 4 defeats in a row, and they are firmly ensconced in the bottom 3. Here's Nakamura on the edge of his own penalty area, finds target. He'll go down the left-hand touchline. Nobody there for Aston Villa. It sails out of play anyway, and it's a Leicester City throw-in.
That's more, you can lose a game, but it's how you lose a game, isn't it? And they've been weak, Villa, you have to say. Very vulnerable defensively, set pieces. Haven't been able to cope with Leicester. But offered very little in attack after those first 10-15 minutes. Well, virtually nothing.
Edge of the area is Maddison. He has a go with his left foot, and that was always rising too. But Leicester here are hungry for more goals inside the last 2 minutes of the game. Well, for promoted teams since the 38-game season was introduced, Chris, in 1995, 40 of the 71 newly promoted clubs have avoided relegation, and the playoff winner has stayed up 61% of that at the time, more than the team that finishes in second place. Villa promoted via that victory against Derby County at Wembley. Started the season well, but it's been a grind, and they've gradually, slowly dropped down into the bottom 3. Maddison again, edge of the penalty area. Here's James Justin, who's offside. Free kick to Aston Villa.
Yeah, well, it would be a worry. This was one of their games in hand. Of course, they have another one, but it hasn't been it's been a really weak display, a feeble display, and that's where does Dean Smith go from here? He's got to somehow try and keep the confidence up, but when you get walloped, this has been 4-0, going on 6 really, they have been outclassed. They have to dust themselves down.
For Chelsea.
Yep, and that's not going to be easy. The form Chelsea are in at the weekend.
Chelsea at home at the weekend, and then Wolves at home, big West Midlands derby that, then Liverpool away, Manchester United at home, Palace away, at home, then Everton away. They've also got Arsenal to play as well, so it's very tricky indeed for Aston Villa. Free kick to Leicester, 15 seconds remaining of the 90, and the King Power Stadium has begun to empty, but the home fans are in good voice. There's been a precious little to cheer of late, but Leicester City are on course for Champions League football, and they're still in the FA Cup, a competition they've never won, despite losing 4 finals, 3 of them in the 1960s. The board has been raised, and we'll have 3 minutes of time added on, and we're into that now. Here's Yuri Tielemans, who's looked at a fairly assured presence since coming onto the field. He's fouled by Nakamura. Free kick to Leicester, just shy of the halfway line on the right-hand side.
You know where they've been very, very good, Leicester, though? Middle of the park. Okay, they've got some nice technicians, but what they have done, when they've given the ball away, they hunt and they win it back very, very quickly.
Do you think the top 4 as is will be the top 4 at the end of the season, Chris? We know about the top 2, don't we, really? Here's Barnes, just having a run at the full-back Gilbert. It's square here to Albright, and he'll fancy a goal against his former club. On the right-hand side of the penalty area, working against Matt Targett. Targett defended it well. Here's Nakamura in his own area, and sends it up towards the halfway line. The header won by Soyuncu. Mendy drops a pass off to Ricardo on the right-hand side. Mendy gets it back. Here's James Maddison. They're pinging it around with confidence here, Leicester City. Right-hand side, Tielemans to the touchline and Albrighton. Chipped forward by Maddison to no one in particular, and it's a goal kick.
I hate it when you ask me difficult questions just near the end of the game, and we've got long enough where I sort of have to answer it. I think that, look, I think the win tonight for Leicester gives them a big enough gap. I think that we'll have their confidence back. That 4th place is interesting. But Chelsea in the driving seat, I'd have to say yes, top 4 will remain the top 4.
Which means United would miss out,
yes,
and I'm on a roll, so I'm going to ask you, can Aston Villa stay up?
No.
you think Villa are for the drop? Here come Leicester down the left-hand side now. James Justin.
It's hard to make a case for them on tonight's evidence. I mean, it's still so tight, but the one thing I would say is Villa defensively, catastrophic really this season, concede far too many goals. And where you look at the likes of who's ahead of them, Watford, I think they've got more than Villa at this moment in time, albeit they have lost Delafeu, haven't they?
Here's Barnes in the penalty area looking for a hat-trick. Tielemans, back heel, Albrighton slices it. That was his big moment against his former club, and he should have scored.
So well worked, wasn't it? So well worked. Brilliant invention from Tielemans. Barnes involved again, pulls the ball back to Tielemans on the penalty spot. He backheels it, and Mark Albrighton, his eyes lit up against his former team, and it was a mind the windows moment. Hacked into the crowd.
Hasn't scored since Boxing Day of 2018 against Manchester City. The whistle goes. Leicester City re-establish an 8-point buffer against 5th place Manchester United as they seek to qualify for the Champions League for only the second time in their history. Jamie Vardy's goal drought is over. He scored with his first touch, a penalty to make it 2-0, and then a terrific finish to beat Pepe Reina at his near post. Some controversy about the award of the penalty. Did it come off Tyrone Mings' shoulder? VAR agreed with Michael Oliver. Harvey Barnes with 2 goals as well. He started the scoring and completed it with a right footer inside Reina's near post. Reina made a big mistake for the opening goal, but convincing winners in the end, Leicester City, who have put Villa to the sword. Chris Sutton by 4-0.
Yep, and Leicester outstanding on the night, confident the longer the game went. Jamie Vardy made an impact, of course, emphatic. Some of the football they played the last 20 minutes, absolutely superb. Barnes had a major impact, just far too good for Villa. If you're a Villa fan, you'd be worried about the nature of their performance. They capitulated, weak from set pieces, had an okay start to the game, first 10 or 15 minutes, didn't take the chances. But on this form, Villa are going down, and Leicester will get Champions League football. Simple as that.
There are 11 very dejected looking Aston Villa players slowly walking down the tunnel now, or towards it, just staring at their feet, Mark, here. The last 2 will be Pepe Reina and Tyrone Mings, who just saluted the away fans. In contrast, high fives all around for Leicester City, who'd only won 3 of their last 12 in the Premier League, but having Jamie Vardy back has presented a spark, and Brendan Rodgers is all smiles. A cuddle there for James Justin, who was terrific in his second Premier League start of the season, and Harvey Barnes takes a swig of his drink as he applauds the crowd. 2 goals for him, 6 in the Premier League for the season. Final score, Mark, 4-0 to Leicester against Aston Villa.
It